Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And I wanted to talk about some comments that I got on a video that I did a couple days ago. I think the video is called something like, I feel all alone, or yeah, I feel all alone. And it was talking about my kind of change from my perception of feeling very alone in life, that my circle was very small, that I was really struggling on just being on the front porch all day long, to gratitude of looking at my life in a completely different way. And that was what that video was about, right? And so it was interesting because I got a lot of comments on here, a lot of really great comments, and I wanted to read a couple of these comments to you because somebody said on here, the hardest part of feeling alone, the hardest part is feeling alone in a crowded room. And I just wanted to address this comment first of all because I think this idea of loneliness and being alone and things like that is, interestingly enough, one of the reasons why I think a lot of people go to social media. I think it's one of the reasons why people scroll Facebook or TikTok or they watch YouTube videos. I think, one of the comments that I get like a lot on my vlog, or people will email me or DM me, is say, I don't have a lot of family, or, I'm not in a relationship and I don't have really that many friends. One of the things I didn't even really realize until I got on YouTube and it was really not even on my booktube videos. It was when I started my drama channel. And it was when I would start talking about my friend Tanya, my best friend Tanya Jean. And I would, joke about her and say things. And she was in some videos of mine and stuff like that. And I would get comments on my videos and people would say, I wish I had a friendship like you and Tanya had. And people would say, I would get DMs from people that say, I've never had a friend in my life, or I've never had a friendship like that in my life. And what I realized was I had always known that my friendship with Tanya was very special. It was very unique. I was proud of our friendship. We've been friends now for like 26, 27 years. It was a friendship that was long-term, it was endearing. She's my heartstone. I love her. I knew it was unique and I knew it was special. What I didn't know was that there are a lot of people out there that have never had even a friend in their life. Just somebody that they can call up on a daily basis and just shoot the crap and vent to or laugh with or just escape for a little bit, right? And I started getting all these emails from people that would say, watching your friendship with Tanya really gives me hope that maybe I can have a friendship like that someday. And so I started really looking at our friendship in a different way. And I have to say those comments gave me such great gratitude for the friendship that I have, not just with Tanya, but my other friends in my life that I have, that each friendship serves a different purpose, and each friendship has, a different meaning and things like that. I don't have a lot of friends, but I have, 2 or 3 really close friends, or friends that I consider close. And then I have, family members that I'm really close with, like my cousin Caroline, my husband, obviously. And it made me really look at that in a different way too. Like even with my relationship with my husband, we're coming up on being together 16 years. We're like a month away from that, and having been married for 13 years. And I remember having gone through a breakup at one point and being with my mom, and I, it's kind of a funny story, but my mom and I were downstairs in this condo when she lived here, and we were watching Jerry Springer. I don't know, it was on the background or something like that, and we were drinking coffee and talking, and these 2 men were fighting over this woman. And I said to my mom something like, how's she getting 2 men to fight over her, and I can't even get like 1 man to be interested in me? And I'll never forget what my mom said, because my mom was a very funny person at times too, but she would also take things very seriously. And she said, Peter, none of us are promised a partner in life. She was like, I was very lucky to love your dad and have a great relationship with him. She said, but I don't know that that'll ever happen to me again. She's like, I would love to have a companion. I would love to be married again. She said, my mom had very strict rules for herself. My mom was somebody that did not believe in sex before marriage, and she said, every man that she was interested or dated would really push the issue. And she was like, no, if that's what you want, go find somebody, but that's not for me. My mom had a lot of issues. She also didn't want to be in a relationship. It was funny because I just saw somebody put a funny TikTok up about this the other day where they said something about it was between them and their wife, and the wife was like, I'm ready to go to bed. It's interesting that they showed it from the wife's point of view, because I feel like this is more of a husband's point of view, when the husband's because I've had so many of my girlfriends are when my husband's ready to go to bed, he turns off the lights, the TV, and it's time to go to bed. And I can remember my mom being yeah, I don't want to be in a relationship again where if my husband wants to go to bed at 10 o'clock, then I have to go to bed at 10 o'clock. She's like, if I want to stay up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and watch movies, I do. If I want to go to bed at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock and go to bed early and get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and walk and have breakfast early, I want to do that. She's like, I don't want somebody dictating and telling me what to do with my life anymore. She's like, she's like, I can't do that. She's like, your dad wasn't even like that. She was like, but we would kind of go to bed at the same time. She's like, but I have so many friends of mine that feel like their husbands just kind of dictate their schedules. Well, I have that today. I have girlfriends of mine that their husbands are like, oh no, we're going to bed, it's 11 o'clock, and then they like turn off all the lights and stuff like that. I have numerous friends of mine like that. It makes me sad, right? Like, and so, I mean, I'll go take a nap and my husband will stay down, so he'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna keep on watching a show, or I'll be watching a show, or whatever, and he'll say, okay, well, I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll come upstairs and bring Boo Radley up here, kiss my husband goodnight, lay with him for a couple minutes and talk to him, and then he goes to bed. It's and so what I did, it started making me look at my relationship, with my husband, when people would say things that way, or like, I've never been in love, I've never been in a relationship. I can't tell you how many people even reached out to me and said that they had never been kissed, I had a lot of people that reached out to me, and this is kind of TMI, I don't really talk about this stuff over here, but I had a lot of people that reached out to me that, we joke about the 40-year-old virgin, but I had a lot of people that reached out to me and said, Peter, I've never been in a relationship, and I'm a virgin, and I'm 50 years old, And that's not sad to me from like a sexual point of view. It's sad to me from like a love point of view, right? That I feel like in my life, I've been able to experience romantic love on multiple different levels. And there are people out there that have never experienced it once. And then I remember my mom saying to me, we're not promised a mate in life. And if you find it once, you're really blessed and you're really lucky. If you find it 2 or 3 times, like, that's a blessing beyond belief, right? There are people out there that will never find love or never be in love, Peter, never be in relationships. And I remember when she said that to me, it really changed my perspective. And then when I got on YouTube and people started saying that about my friendship with Tanya, it really made me start looking at every relationship in my life. My relationship with my dad and my stepmom, my sponsor, my cousin, Alex, Tanya, all my good friends, my neighbors. It started making me look at all of those relationships in a completely different way and being so incredibly grateful for each relationship that I have, that each one is so powerful and so unique, right? And that I didn't take them for granted anymore. But also what I realized was when I looked at each one of those specifically, that each one of them took work, right? Like, even my relationship with my cousin Caroline, that comes very easily. Caroline and I don't know that in our entire life, like, other than maybe over some, like, Fisher-Price people when we were kids, I don't know that Caroline and I have ever argued or ever had a fight. We disagree with each other from time to time, but we've never had, like, a fight where, like, we don't talk. Like, we've never had that, and we're 3 years apart and we're in our 50s, and our entire life, we've never had that. She's been alive in my life since I was born. So in 52 years, my cousin Caroline and I have never had an argument or a fight. That's not to say that it's been easy at times, she goes and does stuff a lot with her friends, and I've had to say to her things like, do you think that maybe I might want to go? Like, invite me sometime, Caroline. Like, I'd love to go do something with you and your friends. And she's like, well, I just thought you'd be bored, but I'll invite you, Or she'll have to say things to me like, like she comes and picks me up once a week. And so, she'll say things to me like, I would like you to have a schedule ready so that we know where we're going when we go and things like that. And we've had to have discussions. Relationships are work. Any relationship. My husband and I have been in marriage counseling for, off and on for, 8, 9 years at this point, 7, 8 years. We have marriage counseling tonight. It's so great for us, right? But any kind of relationship takes work. My friend Tanya and I talked about this in a vlog the other day. It's like, our relationship takes a lot of work. Our relationship used to be me picking up Tanya 3, 4, 5 times a week when our husbands went to sleep, and driving around having fountain pops, and, going to the Meijer at 3 o'clock in the morning, or Walmart, whatever. And the reality is that's not a relationship anymore. I don't drive, and so I'm not doing that anymore. And so Tanya and I are having to, like, tonight, like, I'll probably go to a meeting with her, and then we'll drive around for a little bit and get a fountain pop, and then she'll drive me home. The condition of our relationship has changed. Tanya and I have had to have a lot of conversations about that, about me Ubering over there to watch a movie, or just hanging out with her for an afternoon, and her picking me up and just running errands with her all day long and stuff like that. We've had to, like, really work and change our relationship because the condition of our relationship has changed. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with Tanya probably in the last 2 years. Tanya has been so supportive. Outside of my husband, Tanya has been, and my cousin, the most supportive person to me since the accident. And, Tanya will say things to me, and really, Tanya is a huge part. Tanya and my husband and Caroline, all three, are the decision on why I made not to drive anymore, of them just really pointing out some reality and facts to me. But, Tanya has been so supportive of me, but we've also had a couple conversations in the last 2 years where she'll say, I miss my friend. Like, I don't see you the way that I used to see you. Yeah, we talk every day on the phone. We now talk like an hour and a half, whereas before we were having, you know, visits and drives to the gas station and stuff like that. We would talk. Now we talk on the phone, right? And we try to see each other once or twice a week. But the relationship's changed, you know, and we've had to really, really work at it. To the point where I said to Tanya not too long ago, I said, I cannot just have, there's a lot of friendships in my life that I can have where they can just be like weekly check-ins. I can't have that with you. Like, we go too deep. I think I even said that on my vlog. You know, it's like, we go too deep. Like, I have to see you face to face. It's like my sponsor wants to see me face to face, right? It's like, I have to see you face to face. Like, we go too deep. We've had too deep of conversations for us to just like be like, hey, how are you doing once a week, and then that be it. I have friendships like that. I have acquaintances like that, and that's fine with them. But Tanya and I, we run too deep. You know, so we've had to work a lot of our friendship. My husband and I have had to work a lot on our marriage through the years. You know, my mom and I, when we got sober, had to work a lot on boundaries and our relationships of both of us being sober. You know, one of the first rules that we came up with that we weren't going to attend meetings together because our sobrieties didn't need to overlap, even though we spoke the same language of recovery. That she deserved her anonymity and I deserved mine within, you know, a 12-step program. And so that was one of the boundaries that we set. Relationships take a lot of work. But, you know, it made me look at it in a completely different way. But when this person left this comment, I just want to say, going back to this comment, that I can remember years ago having somebody to say to me, we were talking about, like, social anxiety. It was when I very first started to be able to put words to how I felt, of being very awkward in public settings. And I'll never forget, I had this woman say to me, I mean, this is probably... I probably was sober 3 or 4 years. I'll never forget this. And she said, I feel more alone in a room full of people than I do all by myself. And I will never forget her saying that. And I was like, I like in that moment, I felt so seen. Because in a room full of people, I feel so alone. I feel like, where can I find my corner? Where can I find one person that I can... I mean, when we go to things, I'm always looking for that one person that I know. And it's so funny because I saw this thing. Maybe I screenshot it. I don't think I did. But I saw this thing on Instagram that was talking about, like, Instagram. I saw this thing on Instagram that was talking about introverts, and this is so me. When I read this statement, let me see if I can find it. I found these socks I like. Hold on a second. I don't think I did find, I don't think I screenshot it. I screenshot something else I like. We'll save that for another one. But it was something like, when I'm around people that I don't know, I'm quiet, I'm shy, I'm awkward. But if I'm around people that I love and I feel safe with, I'm the most extroverted person you know. And that is who I am. And I think there's even like a new like kind of like wording for that, or like it's the extroverted introvert or whatever. But that's totally who I am. I feel like I can be my silly, awkward, crazy self around people that I know or love. They're safe places for me. But when I'm around people that I don't know, like I go in with my shell. Like it makes me really, really nervous. You know, it was interesting because we were out to dinner on Friday night, and I ran into this group of women. It was somebody's birthday, and she stopped me, and I was going to the bathroom, and she was like, oh my God, I watch all your videos. My mom watches all your videos. And I was able in that moment to be like really interactive with her, and she was super nice, and I was like joking with her and her friends and stuff like that. That's not typically how I would be if somebody came up to me in public. The reason why I was able to be that way that night was because I was in such a comfortable setting with friends of mine that loved me and are supportive of me and that I feel very comfortable with. So I was already kind of primed up to feel very comfortable. If that hadn't been the case, and I was just, you know, out somewhere by myself, I would be very uncomfortable. And so it was interesting that that happened. And, you know, but I loved this statement that this person said in here when they said, hold on a second, where is it at? Let me get to my comment. When they said, the hardest part is feeling alone in a crowded room, because it's so true. I don't like going into big crowds. I don't like going into... you know, for years I would do like large speaking engagements, and it was kind of easy for me to speak to like a crowd of 1,000 versus a crowd of 20, and I never really understood it. And I think really what it was that crowd of 1,000 seemed pretty impersonal, but everybody was looking at me, and so I kind of was like the one in control of the situation. In a group where it's like 1 in 20, it feels very personal, and then I'm like looking at each person's eye movements and what are they thinking, whatever, right? And I know that stems from my being bullied when I was growing up, because the feelings inside of social anxiety today are like, what are people thinking about me? What are they saying when my back is turned? Are they looking at me in a weird way? That's the same things that I had when I was being bullied. Being bullied put that into my head, all of that. What are people saying? What are they thinking? Do they like me? Do they not like me? Blah, 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 whatever. That's what that stems from. But that's so true of me. that I am more alone in a crowded room than I am sitting on my front porch, in all honesty. That's totally how I feel. That statement alone that person put on here in this comment, I so related to this. And then somebody else commented, and I love this, plus most things are social activities. Who wants to do everything alone? And I so agree with this. Like, that's not necessarily how I used to feel. In fact, I went through a breakup between Alex, before I met Alex, my ex and I, we did everything together. And so when we broke up, one of the things that was really important to me was to assert my independence. And I started going to movies by myself. And I started going out to eat by myself and going shopping by myself and things like that, because I really needed to learn to do that. And I got really good at it. I got really good at, like, first, like, eating lunch at places. And then eventually I would go to dinner and whatever. I didn't love to do it, but I would do it, right? And I really learned to love being alone and being single. I think as an only child, I play very well alone. So it was something that I was kind of used to anyway. But, you know, I kind of learned it again. I think in meeting Alex and doing a lot of stuff and having a choice, like, do I want to go, do I not want to go? Whereas before, my past relationship, we were so enmeshed that I always just went. And I would go places and do things that I didn't even want to do because I just felt like I had to be there, right? And then having my independence and spending some time alone, and then now being in a relationship where we don't demand that the other person comes, we pick and choose what we want to do. I think what I've realized from that is that I don't want to do things alone. You know, I like my alone time. I love being home alone. I love walking and listening to audiobooks, watching TV shows alone, things like that. But I don't love to go out and do things alone. You know, when we were at Stevie Nicks, we ran into somebody that watches my videos, and she's like, I'm here all alone. I saw that you were going. I got a ticket. I love that, right? I don't know that I could do that. I don't know that I would go and buy a ticket to a concert alone. That's inspiring to me that somebody does that. I would go to a movie alone. I could still go out to eat by myself, you know, alone, things like that. I don't love being alone. And also, since the accident, I don't feel safe alone. I think that's another issue that's happened since I had the accident, was that I don't feel safe going places, and even in Ubers, I don't feel safe. And I tell a lot of the Uber drivers, like, when I get in a car, I'm like, I don't drive, I have epilepsy, and I just want you to know that, and whatever. I tell a lot of the Uber drivers that because I don't feel safe, like, when I'm out by myself alone, you know, that if something happens that I'm going to get to the hospital or whatever, the people will even know what's going on with me. So I think that's been, like, an added thing that's happened. With the social anxiety, but I 100% agree with that. Who wants to do everything alone? Don't you want to go to concerts and Halloween parties and stuff with people? I mean, it's fun, right? Like, to go with people and get excited about it with other people and whatever, you know? I think one thing I love about my relationship with I love many things about my relationship with my husband is that we get excited about things together, like going to Ultra Music Festival, going to movies. We went out to 2 dinners this weekend. We got very excited about doing that. You know, it's fun. Like, it's fun to get excited. What are you going to wear? What am I going to wear? All that kind of stuff. You know, and so it is fun, you know? And that's a part of marriage that I absolutely love, you know, is that we get to do those things together and stuff like that. But it's true, like, I will say this though, like, after this weekend, it's interesting speaking about being alone because I was with people the whole weekend, and, you know, like, Friday night went out to dinner with like 12 other couple, or 12 other people, 6 other couples. Saturday night went out to dinner with another couple. Sunday was with my husband all day long, and then Monday went to the pool with my neighbor, had a great time. But it's like 4 days with people, and then today took an Uber to get my hair cut, and then tonight have marriage counseling with my husband, and it's like, I think tomorrow, and like tomorrow's Cousin Fun Day. I'm like, after so many days of being around people, I don't really know how I used to do it back in the day. I'm gonna feel like I need a day alone. You know what I mean? Because I do cherish my alone time. I really, really do. So anyway, I wanted to address those comments and let you guys know a little bit more of how I feel about the alone situation. I think it's tough for people. I feel for people that I've gotten so many emails from people that are like, I have no family, I have no friends, I literally go to work. I have no friends at work, I literally come home and I'm just with my cat or my dog. And it makes me sad, and I'll tell you what even makes me more sad about it is that most of those people will say, and I'm totally fine with it. I wish for something different, but I'm totally fine for that. And I think that living in acceptance and gratitude is great. I also think, as much as I love my alone time, one of the things I've had to learn is that we're human beings, and I think that we need human interaction. I think it's one thing that when I do have periods of human interaction, I know I'm kind of like going against what I'm saying. I love my alone time. I love my peace and serenity. But when I interact with people, it's like it brings out other parts of myself that aren't there when I'm by myself. So those pieces are very, very important. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.